Welcome back to the Tracy Take. Today, Ryan and I, we will be reviewing the Cleveland Browns 2021 season. But before we get into that, Ryan and I, we wanted to tell you about a little goal that we have of getting to 400 subscribers by the draft. So if you have not subscribed already, that would be greatly appreciated. If you smash that subscribe button, hit the like button, and comment on your thoughts on the Cleveland Browns season and what they need to do in the offseason. Share this video with your Cleveland Browns friends. And Ryan, let's get into it. So we'll get into the good, the bad, and what they need to do and to make the Super Bowl next year. But could we debate just for a brief second? Was this the most disappointing season or team in the 2021 season? And maybe we just overhyped it because of how 2020 ended up for them. Them winning their first playoff game, they went on a series run, really contending against the Kansas City Chiefs in that game.
Sorry,
what are you doing over there?
I have four hairs just poking out the front of my hat, and it's bothering me.
Oh.
Yeah. All right,
Okay.
There we go. All right. Sorry, I had to fix that. I still have a few.
Yeah, so you still have a few there, but
yeah, it is what it is. It's hard to adjust with the headset on.
Their season was more disappointing than that little pause break that you made us have there. I think that's fair to say. But also, I don't know if it's fair to say because of the expectations that we put on the Browns, because it's like, oh my God, they won their first playoff game in over 2 decades, and now we think that they're all Super Bowl contenders, and it just didn't pan out the way they had. But the team's still there.
They got very unlucky, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you look at the New England game, they had a bunch of guys on the COVID list. If you look at the Kansas City game at the beginning of the year, that they were dominating in, and then their offensive tackle, Jedrick Wills, got hurt and missed the rest of the game, and that completely obliterated a lot of their momentum that they had. Because they were up 29-13 or something, and then ended up losing 33-29.
Something like that. They were up for a majority of the game. Yeah.
Yeah, and they just kind of blew it. But if you look at how close the AFC was, those 2 games right there, if they didn't get COVID with all those guys and they go into New England and win, and they don't blow the lead in Kansas City in Week 1, that's the playoffs for them. They're in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So and then they had a really hard schedule. They had to go to LA. I think that division was very competitive. And so I just think they maybe we hype them up a little too much, but sometimes the coin just landed on tails when they called heads. And sometimes that just happens. Mm-hmm. So I think we need to cut them a little bit of slack, but as far as expectations to what came out of it, I think that, this has to be the most disappointing season. But I don't think it was all the Browns' fault.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, well, we'll come back to that. But let's focus on some of the good. Miles Garrett continues to prove why he's one of the best players just in the league in general. 16 sacks on the year. And I will say, Jadeveon Clowney did have 9 sacks as well. It kind of goes to what we were talking about. I think actually, didn't we predict that he would have 10 sacks on the year?
Yeah,
and he came just short. And he even missed a couple games. So I know he's a free agent. I think he'd be worth the re-sign. I think he matches up.
Yeah.
I think he works well with Myles Garrett. There's a couple other people that they need to sign. But in general, though, that whole defense is coming back. If it wasn't for Jack Conklin getting injured, who is their right tackle, the rest of the offensive line played fairly well. Both their guards were ranked extremely high, and their center, J.C. Treader, also had a solid season. The running the ball.
Jedrick Wills is a higher performing left tackle than what he was this season because he played injured for a lot of the year.
Yeah.
And so I think he can take the offseason and get healthy and come back. And the Browns might have the best offensive line coming into the 2022 season.
Probably. It would be up there. I don't know. There aren't too many that I would consider them being better than the Browns' offensive line. But then Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt. The games he did play was a solid addition. He had. He only played in half the season, but when he did, it was a solid combo.
Point out their 2021 draft class was very good. You have Greg Newsome, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, Demetric Felton, Tommy Togiai, those were all guys that made an impact this year, including Anthony Schwartz, the rookie out of Auburn. He was a wide receiver. And I think all of those rookies came in and were able to make somewhat of an impact on this team. And I think that just set up the foundation for them in the future to kind of continue to keep building. Because at the beginning of the season, we kind of said that they were there, and I think a lot of these guys showed that they can continue to build and get better. So
yeah. No, I agree with that, and that's going to be huge, especially when we now get into the bad. You mentioned Anthony Schwartz. I did have his stats down. He did have 10 catches for 135 yards for 1 touchdown. I mean, stuff to build on from there, but he was not too far behind the leading receiver for them, only by a couple hundred yards. But Donovan Peoples-Jones led the team with 34 catches, 597 yards, and 3 touchdowns, and he only played in 14 games. That, to me, is just the glaring weakness, which is just the passing game in general. I think they're 27th in passing yards throughout the league offensively. A lot of that has to do with Baker Mayfield. He was hurt. I know there's a lot of questions coming out from that camp is what are they going to do with Baker Mayfield, or are they going to try and move on? That'll be interesting to see. But similar to kind of what you said, he was hurt. He was banged up playing throughout. I wonder what it would have been like if he was healthier.
Yeah.
But
I do have him down on my bad, not because of his play, because I think that is somewhat excusable just with the locker room situation going on. And I know you can debate whether he caused that or Odell caused that, but that's just hard to work around. But also, too, he had to play injured, and so I have him on the bad list because they don't know where to go from here. They don't know if they should pick up his 5th-year option or not. They already did that, but they don't know if they need to be looking into drafting or trading for a quarterback or not. They're kind of still in that limbo stage where in his 4th season you were really hoping he would take a step forward or show you that he's not the guy. So
and that's what's interesting about and I think that's a good point too, because considering all the factors with him playing hurt for a majority of the year, is that going to then could he have been better, or would this have been about the same whether he was healthy or not? And I think that's then one thing though is they need to draft an elite receiver. Of course you'd want him to be elite, but you need to draft a receiver that can get that separation that you can build, that Baker can trust to throw to, because Jarvis Landry's getting older. Donovan Peoples-Jones, I think he can keep improving and continue to be the number 1 receiver. They do have David Njoku and Austin Hooper who are on tight ends. Well, Njoku's going to be a free agent. I could see them re-signing him because I feel like he'd be fairly affordable. But then still getting that another elite receiver to have on the outside. And that's where we just did our mock draft. I think we had Garrett Wilson going to them. I think that would be a solid option. Or if they trust Jameson Williams, I think that would be great if they trust his knee coming back.
I think Garrett Wilson is the guy that they need. I think Jameson Williams is he has more versatility than a guy like Chris Olave, in my opinion. But I really think Garrett Wilson comes in and he's one of the only wide receivers, in my opinion, that's going to come in and make a tremendous impact from day one. Not a Jamar Chase impact, but I really think he can come in and be what A.J. Brown was in his first year and be a potential 1,000-yard receiver in his rookie season. So
I think if they do,
the only guy.
And I think if they do that and then address that receiver position, and then Baker Mayfield is healthy or mostly healthy throughout the season, then you'll see what kind of, if Baker's going to be the guy that they should move forward with or not. Because if not, we got you these receivers, we these young receivers, and they'll take some time, but we're still producing the same results as if you were hurt. It's like, okay, then maybe we should start looking elsewhere. To go and see. But there are other quarterbacks. I mean, I know I'm very high on Tyler Huntley, but I think they could sign him for cheap, take him away from their division rival, and potentially have a quarterback competition go on. Because I'm high on Tyler Huntley. I think it's the name. I think that's what it is. So
no, I think in free agency, I think they should try to retain as much as they can, maybe add a few players here or there. But then through the draft, I definitely think address the wide receiver position, and then maybe in the second round try to build up depth at the edge rusher position, because outside of Myles Garrett, if Jadeveon Clowney doesn't come back, they might be a little thin at that position. So I think that is definitely kind of the route that they should go. But honestly, the best way to talk about this is to find out and see what they do on draft night. So other than that, I don't really have too much else to add about the Cleveland Browns. I'm really excited to see what they do here in the offseason. But if you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe. Tyler and I are trying to hit 400 subscribers by draft night. So if you could help us reach that goal, we would very much appreciate it. But other than that, we will see you guys next time.